Good evening. It's Sunday. No, it's Monday. September 29th. I think it's below. I think it's before midnight. But nonetheless, it is the 29th of September 2025. Just coming up with an update as I've put this off all day. Yep, how you doing? So I put this off all day recording because I'm tired of talking about stuff that I keep going over and over and over, and it's the same thing. It pertains to, oh, I killed another truck. That happens quite often. Something I put out kills vehicles every time I walk up near. Anyway, oh, it's maybe my imagination. No, I don't think so. It's my frequency. Anyway, I'm tired of being reporting because it's the same old crap, and I'm set till I'm blue in the face, and I'm tired of talking about it. You know, I'd rather be out here talking about, you know, what's uplifting and what's positive, but there's not a lot of positive going on around me except for the joy that I shine within myself and radiate around me. And it's difficult when you're singled out and isolated and you don't really feel like you fit in at any group, and your only mission right now is to, you know, fulfill your destiny. And for those that don't understand what I'm talking about, it's a drive that takes your focus, you know, every ounce of it, every bit of every day. That's all you think about from the time you get up, because anything that was of this world, or anything that you valued in a material possession or somebody or something you loved, has been all stripped away from you. And when you're left with nothing but your faith in God and Him, and your intimate relationship, your personal relationship with Him, when that's all you got, then that's what you put your focus towards. And when you know who you are and what your calling is and what you've come to do, you know, there's nothing more in my life that I want to do than to please God. You know, I'm not the outcast. I'm not the badass everybody thinks I am. I'm quite the opposite. But when it comes to the truth and standing my ground in that truth, and whatever means I have to go through to obtain the truth, you know, I'm allowed to walk through that. You know, I live my life in His grace, and I get up and I meditate and pray, and I ask the Lord for the joy and the courage and the strength and the ears to hear and the eyes to see daily what He wants me to see. And He's led me this far. You know, I haven't gone this far for no reason. You know, I've done what many can't. What a lot of people, I think I've done what nobody has done in a couple different ways, but I'm not here to boast or, you know, talk about that. I'm here to talk about, you know, my mission is never over. Some days I feel like giving up. Some days I only feel like posting these videos because it's just the same mundane thing. It's me trying to find my spiritual inheritance, and you know, the monetary means to be able to fund what I need to do. And I'm also, in the meantime, waiting on my soulmate, my twin flame, to show up. You know, I know what God convicts me of. And when the battle's off and I don't have to do the things I had to do during this war and this battle for the truth and to win, essentially, and not let, you know, the devil roll over on God, you know, I had to do the things I had to do. It doesn't matter the means. You know, my sins have purpose, as everybody's does. You know, God allows us to walk through, you know, rocky roads and things that, you know, ultimately could destroy us. But that's how He shapes and molds us, you know, into His warriors and what He wants us to be. You know, if you don't experience life, experience other realms beyond this 3D reality we live in, and expand our minds and, you know, with the expansion of our minds, expand our faith and believing in the unseen. It's the simple fact that believing in the unseen is just our belief in God in general. And if we truly believe in, God the Father and Jesus Christ and our salvation and the plan to salvation, then there's nothing our minds can't comprehend. And once you see the unseen, that vault is unlocked to you, and your spiritual ascension transformed, it takes place, and things start to happen. I don't know why I'm here, other than I know I've got a duty to fulfill for God and a destiny to fulfill for myself, and that I've ascended spiritually. I've lived 3 lifetimes, and this is my last. I'm wise in the spirit. I'm wise in my maturity in this 3D realm. I reason about everything I think. I don't just react. And everything's got to have a reason for something happening, or for something to happen to somebody else. There's got to be a good reason for it. And if it doesn't equal up, and there's not equal balance within that, then it's unfair. It's unfair one way or the other. But, and that's what my message is too. I'm here to show balance, to be a symbol for equality, for male and female. Because there's a lot of injustice and, favoritism on certain sides, on mainly one side, but it goes both ways. And there should just be an equal balance. And there's things that I want to express when I'm able to do that, but the monetary thing is a huge thing as far as my expansion and getting off the ground and waiting for my soulmate to come into my life, the one that I've been informed I'm to do this with. I'm at a standstill. I feel stuck in a sense. I've come this far. I've took my mission trips. I've done, I've went, I've experienced everything in life. I've got a story to tell, a testimony of, overcoming and rising above life's challenges, and rising above the things that people don't think they can overcome in a rapid way, in a rapid transformation. And I've done it, and it's just will, and knowing who I am, and will, and and God indwelling within me to make these things happen, and faith to manifest them. I feel like I'm at a standstill right now. I'm stuck, and I'm feeling like, where's my faith? Shouldn't I be able to manifest these things? I've manifested so much just in a miraculous way, and also just in pushing myself and doing the unthinkable, and walking out to Georgia and Kansas City and back, and my mission trips that were solely alone and totally done just on the grace of God and my faith in Him alone. And I've lost everything. I'm still looking for my dog. I know where my dog's at, and I think I know who has Robert. But this is all done for my training. I see the manipulation done, even with my dog, through my family, and see their hand in manipulating that situation. It's pathetic. If you love me so much and you really want to see my betterment and let me rise, why do you have to do it so cruel, in a cruel way? But I just can't get past the fact that it's not done any way, but with intentions on to destroy me, and it's done out of envy and jealous. They're jealous. I've suffered enough. If my family loved me, they would come to with the truth, which I've got the truth already. I don't need that anymore. And that's why I've been able to surrender to a certain extent, some of the things I've been doing out here that's been displeasing, or, unacceptable to the public eye, or what's actually done in my private, or should be my private, is being watched and exposed to people that shouldn't be watching. This is where information is getting. I've reported in the last post or a couple posts before, or videos, that I can see energy, I see spirits, I see general energy, I see energy that comes from light sockets. I'm able to see. It's one of my spiritual gifts, I guess. And with that, there's so many facets to my spiritual gifts that God has given me, with my intuition and seeing the unseen and seeing things most people can't, and reading people like a book. And it's not hard for me to know the truth, not just by reading people. That's just a tool or a tactic I can use to help me identify, but on the most part, I just know. Or people slip up, and when they don't think they're giving me clues, they're laying nothing but groundwork for me to follow, and they're sloppy. Is my intuition that good? Am I that smart? I guess I am. Which I think everybody should have the same intuition, or putting 1 + 1 together to equal 2. It's just thinking outside your box and looking at many different angles, just aside one trajectory, or what you think, or what somebody tells you. So many people believe in what they're just told. And with these smear campaigns that started on me, and these, smearing my name and telling lies about me, people just heard certain things and they just believe it. It's so much easier to believe, what you're being told, and go along with something, rather than to take the actual time or the interest to really investigate what is going on. And that's how rumors get started, because there's not enough maturity in the world for, if you're gonna sit there and be a sponge and take in information that somebody's giving you about somebody else, whether it be true or not, and actually sit there and scuttlebutt or talk about it to somebody else, that information that or you're talking about, wouldn't you take it in and see if the information's true, or ask the source? You would think so, but not in this world. It's easier just to believe what you're being told, and then either spreading rumor about it or just believing. And that happens too much, and that's what's going on. That's where a lot of the corruption lies within even our governments, is just hearsay, or people patting each other on the back and doing each other favors in a corrupt way with money or however else. And that's been done to me. Just by ex-in-laws and their means of judicial and governmental back, and attorneys and such being in the family, and knowing people. And it's made my life hell for the last 13 years. But it's all supposed to happen. I don't know what's much more to say. I'm just trying to report out to you guys every day. I'm out here waiting patiently. It's patience is a virtue. It totally is. I'm a lot of times not patient, and I pray to God every day for patience, just to help me to see what you want me to see for the day, and not worry about tomorrow. I know it's coming. My rise is here. I know there's a woman out there for me that's probably watching me, and waiting for the right opportunity. I'm out here doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's living for Him every day, and doing what I am socially what's acceptable, to prove again that I don't have the problem. It's everybody else's problem. Give me my job, give me a direction, give me a purpose-driven life, something to live for, a soulmate to do this with, someone to love, because I've got so much love to give. And that's what it's about. It's about unconditional love. I can say, as hard as it is for me to forgive my family and what's been done to me, and think of it in their way of calling it, how do you know it wasn't done out of love, in the ideal ways of thinking of an unconditional love, or a tough love. Is that acceptable? Not with the means that's what it was done, with gang stalking and demonic tactics and smear campaigns. That was evil. It wasn't done out of love. I just can't see it, you know. I mean, I forgive them, and I still love them, and I love everybody. I have so much love and forgiveness in me. I'm supposed to be like this. I'm supposed to be a representative and an ambassador for Christ. My blood flows from the same DNA as him, and that's why I have these characteristics and qualities about me and individuality that is different from most. You know, there's only one of me. There's only one of everybody else, you know. It's everybody else's duty to do what God has set before them, because we all have duties on this planet. And it's to be out here being a servant to other human beings and doing God's will and doing unto others, you know, helping somebody, not executing them, you know, giving them a hand and helping them out of the gutter, not pushing them back down in the gutter. I mean, it's simple. If people would just think outside their box, first of all, and think of something other than themselves. And once you give, the reward is so much greater than to receive. You know, I don't like to receive. I've learned to have to receive. And it's been part of my training too. I feel like I've had to learn to have to take things from people and appreciate, and I always appreciate, but without having to feel like I have to give something back. But that's something I had to learn too when I'm out here homeless and have no other options. You know, I've been to the best, and I've been to the worst, and I've been to the highest point and the lowest point. You know, back and forth. You know, I am perfectly balanced in the aspect of I've found middle ground in all this. You know, spiritually, emotionally, and that's why I've ascended, you know, and I know who I am in Christ and my mission and my destiny and my angelic identity. I'm one of 144,000. I'm in Revelation. I'm a witness to his love, his grace, and what he's doing in my life, what he's going to do in my life, and taking faith in that, you know, these things are coming to pass. I know they are. I feel it in my bones. I see it all around me. I hear it in conversation. I hear it in conversation that's not even present. I'm hearing it. And that's part of my awakening too, my abilities, my God-given abilities that he's waking me up to. And that's, you know, it's taking a toll on me too. Just try to discern, you know, a lot of that, and to try to be able to digest these spiritual gifts in such a, you know, quick fashion and quick amount of time, and learning to, you know, able to emotionally and spiritually control these things within myself and not let them make me go nuts, basically, you know, and discern also what's attacks on me from the devil. So, you know, it's been rough for me, you know, but also I know that, you know, he has my back, and Christ is right beside me. My angels are above me. You know, I have no doubt in my mission, and he's given me a bubble of protection, and I have no doubt in my protection. I am divinely protected, you know, and I'm not out here starting trouble. Everybody knows that. I'm just here to do his will and be the messenger and the vessel he's called me to be. So, you know, take it easy on me. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just here doing my job. You know, I'm looking for a hand, Lord. I'm praying for my soulmate's coming into my life, Lord, my twin flame, to join me like she's supposed to, so we can fill out your, you know, carry on with what we're supposed to do as a couple and as a pair for your kingdom, as, you know, I've been told and been sourced the information that she's here and she's waiting on me. I pray for her protection and her safe trip, that I know, take faith that she has already, but I want to call it out and bless her and let her know I love her, and I'm waiting for her, and I'm excited. You know, she could show up at my door tonight where I'm staying and just give me the look, and I would know it's her, because I've been waiting and I know what to expect, kind of, and, you know, what God's going to send is going to be perfect and beautiful without a doubt. So, you know, I'm praying for her and just everybody as a whole, my destiny to be fulfilled, and us to come together so we can do our job for humanity, to spread the message and to save souls, break chains that I'm doing, and lay down my weapons, because I feel like the war is over and it's time to prosper and do what God has called me to do, and live fulfillment in my life and fulfillment for everybody else's in the ways that I can help them and be a light for the kingdom of heaven as it comes. So I'll sign it off. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I love you, and I'll see you then.